after making those changes, Glenn, you realized it's Patch Tuesday and you're going to have to make changes again?
Is it Patch Tuesday?
It is.
And Trash Day, if any of y'all forgot.
All right, YouTube looks up and live and looks good, sounds good. So we are live and on the air. Welcome everyone to the Foolish Tech Show. It is a dreary Tuesday morning here, but we are here to provide you with support and answer any questions about our products and services primarily. Otherwise, we're going to fill the airtime with random stuff. So if you would like to ask us any questions about our products or services, feel free to jump over to foolishtechshow.com or foolishit.com/live. We have a few ways you can join our IRC chat, talk to us directly. Feel free to interrupt anytime with any of those questions. We'll side rail our tangents and focus on that instead. Or you can just join us and partake in our conversation. So how is everybody doing this morning?
I'm doing well, thank you very much. Yeah, I got something good accomplished with the code we were working on yesterday, so I'm real happy about that. And yeah, I'm anxious to get started with the day.
Cool.
I hope everyone else is well.
Doing well.
So we had a question from Glenn yesterday at the beginning of yesterday's show, and have to apologize. Sometimes things get lost in the chats, but I did want to come back to it and talk about it because I didn't actually know about this or if this would even is a possibility. But so Glenn has a question. Windows 10 and devices with MMC drives, i.e. COB or SD card, and insufficient space or insufficient storage to perform the Windows 10 update upgrade, the anniversary update. He wants to know, what advice do you give clients to reduce any stress for the next update? He advises clients to keep an 8 or 16 gig stick, or at least a stick with at least 6 gigs of free space plugged in at all times. He wants to know our thoughts on that. And when he says stress, he says they have many clients on prepaid internet, and when the upgrade fails for whatever reason, in this case, insufficient space to perform the upgrade, the system re-downloads the upgrade files, and then I would imagine fails again, so it continuously re-downloads like 2 gigs worth of data probably. Of course, this burns up clients' prepaid data and things like that. So first off, the USB thing, is this something y'all know about? Just having a USB plugged in puts update files on there? Or?
I don't know what this is talking about. First of all, please let me understand the problem here. Why are we installing Windows 10 onto such a small drive? Are we talking about are we talking about
Well, Michael, like my
small SSD, or
no, like my Dell Venue 10.
Okay, so something with just a small amount of flash storage.
It has 32 gigs of RAM, or 32 gigs of memory.
And it has
32 gigs of hard drive space on it. And if I use that as my primary system, I could easily fill up that 32 gigs.
Yeah,
okay. And then updates wouldn't be able, well, if updates even download.
I didn't think that was a solution, though. Yeah, I didn't think that was a solution. I didn't think that just simply plugging in a USB stick would circumvent that issue at all. I just wanted to make sure I was understanding the issue correctly. And so, yeah, it's you lack the physical storage on your primary storage device to perform the anniversary update, let's say, right? And whatever the case may be, but I mean, obviously, this would either be probably an MMC thing. I don't know why anybody would be running from directly from a flash drive, unless you had a bootable system like that. But then you're probably not doing the updates like that anyway. You just recreate it.
It says it uses the drive during the upgrade process, so that's interesting. I did not know that. at the worst, I would have thought that you were saying instead of having them try to download the updates, to have them whatchamacallit, turn on or just download the newest Windows Media Creator and then kind of upgrade that way every time. But if they've set it up so that Windows Updates uses any attached flash media for updates temporary storage, I guess it's kind of like the Ready Boost drive technology, maybe. Like, but instead of RAM, they're trying to save you hard drive space that you don't want
Okay.
to waste.
Look, I've reports of somebody who plugged in a 128 gig USB flash drive with a computer with 32 gigs, and it didn't affect the anniversary update's ability to install. So, Glenn, can you absolutely confirm?
Well, I was going to say, Glenn, if you have any links about that USB and Windows updates, we'd really like to see that and actually be able to share it with others. But also, one of the nice things about the updates and people for those prepaid ones is the anniversary updates.
I found this.
Does make it a lot nicer for their peer-to-peer Windows Update stuff. So now if you go into, where is it? Oh, now I can't find it. Oh, okay. So they do kind of hide it, but if you go into Windows Updates under Settings and then Advanced Options and then change how updates are delivered, you do have to turn this on, so it's off by default after the anniversary update. Maybe mine was off when I updated it because I didn't want stuff downloading from computers on the internet. But now they give you a choice where you can turn it on, and then you have the choice of getting updates from PCs on your local network. So Johnny and I don't have to download the updates twice. If I download them first, then Johnny's computer downloads them from mine, and other computers on my network will download them from mine, which I think that's a really great option for those people that are on those prepaid data plans. So if they have multiple computers, at least that will help them. But yeah, if you have any links on the USB stuff, we'd really like to see more about that and find out more. Also, I did some testing on the PIN sign-in, because remember I was saying I wonder if I can use the USB rubber ducky to kind of automate brute forcing PIN cracking.
Here's a Microsoft article on the same situation.
They set up the PIN so that if you enter the PIN in wrong about 3 times, instead of being able to hit enter to press the button for OK, you actually have to use the mouse to press the button for OK.
I noticed that.
And if you continue to enter in the wrong password, or wrong PIN number.
It'll reboot the computer.
No, actually, it'll come up and ask you to use the access code if you have two-factor authentication.
Yeah. Okay, I don't know if I had that turned on, but
well,
it does
it's
actually.
only
It'll also
for your live account, I would imagine.
It'll also reboot the computer too.
Interesting.
I did that when I was trying to a fingerprint wrong numerous times.
I did not know it would reboot the computer, but
it doesn't just blindly do it. It just says you must now reboot your computer because you've entered in, but what, in other words, it's ratcheting it up based upon everything it has at its disposal. So it's intelligent about what the user is doing.
Well, it's not intelligent. It's just more adapt to.
Well, okay, yeah, it's not an AI. It's not an AI, but no, yeah, but it's measuring certain factors to determine and increasing, ratcheting up the security as it, as it appears to look more and more like a brute force.
Yeah. So Glenn says that he's had machines like the HP. The error message that pops up during a manual install with advice to attach a flash drive.
There is one limitation. You have to have at least 8 gigabytes free. There's no way around that. You have to have 8 gigabytes, but that is the minimum, and apparently you can do it if you have at least 8 gigabytes and a flash drive. You can do this.
So maybe, I mean, obviously it wouldn't hurt for those people, definitely, Glenn. Possibly also maybe sending out a notice to your clients and letting them know there's a new update out that they should download the latest Windows Media installer and upgrade their computer that way, possibly, so they don't have to worry about the internet side of it more than once. I mean, they could even like plan ahead, and I don't know if your public libraries offer free internet, but you could go to the library and download it and then come back and upgrade all your computers. That would kind of save on your data plan. I am very familiar with skimping and saving on data plans and using other places and means to provide data. So coffee shops, McDonald's, libraries, restaurants, those kind of places all have good options for free data. Especially for things like that where you don't have to worry about any of their filtering or things like that. So. And yes, Shri, we're all actually happy you're doing well. So throw that out there.
Yeah, I was just motoring on. Now you're reading my comment. I could have just talked about it.
You could. Do you not have that venue anymore?
I do. That's why I put Windows 10 on it. But and what I was saying in the comment was there was not enough free space on the local disk to install Windows 10. Not even for the temp files from a USB drive. I actually used a smaller flash drive to try it with the media creation tool, and there wasn't enough space on either the flash drive or the local disk for the temp files. So I got a bigger flash drive. And Windows 10 was smart enough to use the free space on the flash drive for the temporary files to complete the install on the local disk.
Well, that's good, because I mean that is a very, very limited space, and it's even more aggravating because the only USB port on that thing is the power port. So
yeah, I had to get an adapter on Amazon. It came in the day before the free update.
Yeah, you have to use that, and then you have to make sure it's fully charged so that you can update while you do it. Or you got the adapter to power and?
No, I did not. No, I did not. I did it all on battery.
Yeah, they do have adapters for that if you're interested in it. I don't.
I was running low. I was running low near the end. I think I was able to. I don't know, somewhere near the end of setup, I had to plug it into power for a while. It worked.
That's cool.
I put it back.
Well, thanks for confirming. Thanks for confirming that, though. That's good to know. Firsthand experience here about it. Yeah, you had though at least 8 gigs free, right, on the primary partition, I imagine.
No, I had like 3, maybe 4.
You had less than 8 gigs on the primary partition. Less than
It's like at all times, Michael. That's
how that tablet runs.
Yeah,
wow.
It's kind of ridiculous having.
Actually, I think I have more free space on it now than I did before.
Wow, but it still worked. Okay, so that's even everything that I read said you had to have at least 8 gigs free. So if they've improved.
Well, my point was, and what it uses is if you have enough space on the flash drive itself, even the one, like when I noticed when I was running the setup the first time, that it said insert a flash drive because there's not enough space on local disk. I'm like, but I don't have another flash drive.
It actually prompted you to insert the flash drive?
Yeah, because there wasn't enough space on the local disk, but I didn't have another flash drive slot because I was using the power port. I was using the power port and an adapter for a flash drive already. Mm-hmm. So I ended up using the media creation tool on a larger flash drive, and it just used that without.
Nice. Listen, that link I put up, I just wanted to mention something. It looks like the new Linux kernel has support for the Surface 3 touchpad. So some people believe in the Surface 3, especially with the lower price, could be a perfect Linux machine. So that's really interesting.
But of note, since you moved on, it did still prompt me with the larger flash drive for another flash drive, but I just selected the existing one and it used it itself.
Oh, that's weird.
That way.
Looks like troubles aren't over. There's additional software may have been found in Volkswagen cars that caused their emissions control system to shut down after 22 minutes, and apparently the emissions test takes 20 minutes. So that's sort of weird. And that will be very bad news for them, considering all the how bad it's been for them so far with all the current publicity. Let's see. And just as Brantley has been recommending.
It's not like people aren't out buying Volkswagens though still. So.
Well, I mean, just mentioning
it's
that.
It's like not even bad publicity for them, really. It's more just they have to deal with regulations. Like, consumers don't care. I don't care that Volkswagen's cheating the emission systems. That's not my problem.
Well, what if you purchase them explicitly because of that, or that was one of your reasonings for purchasing it? I would think if you advertise a feature and you would expect a consumer to buy your product based upon those features that you advertise. And, for instance, Microsoft advertises accessibility features in Windows 10. If I was a disabled person and needed those features, and they didn't offer those to me, I would have a problem. Now, it doesn't affect me because I'm not in that situation currently, all right? But that doesn't mean that that's okay. Just because most consumers aren't disabled doesn't mean that they should advertise however they blindly.
Did Volkswagen ever come out advertising that they made the world cleaner?
Well, yeah, they did. They have commercials that are touting their vehicles as being cleaner than
do you have any of these
diesel-wise.
I do not remember any of those commercials.
Well, I don't do TV anymore,
the only Volkswagen commercials I remember is a vacuum cleaner picking up a VW Bug.
Okay, well,
I don't remember.
Perfect, Negan. I remember that.
What do you think about Bluetooth smart locks? What are these things? And
I've been wanting to get one, but I forget why I didn't. There was like there was like a couple that looked really awesome, but they had some really quirky reviews. And then but they were, I don't know, it's like I wanted a master lock or something, but they didn't use, I don't know what, I forget.
Okay.
I decided not to get one, rather.
This is
I wouldn't put anything important on it.
This is the statement.
Behind it.
Yeah, apparently there's a severe there's a big security flaw in them, and they.
I was just thinking about getting one from my shed outside with like random junk and some tools and stuff in it, just because I wouldn't put anything like important behind one, but it would be nice that without having to come into the house and go fumble through the junk drawer for the key, kind of thing.
Well, it's interesting though. It doesn't appear that the vendors are really worried about patching the problem. I have to look into that.
They never are.
They're not, and maybe they'll fix it in a new version, and maybe they don't even care at all because it's a lock. What are you going to do? Hook it up to the internet? Update the firmware on it? No.
It takes 30 seconds to pick any master lock anyway. So
I know, and see that's why it didn't bother me that much. That's why it didn't bother me that much, because a physical lock is just harder for you to get into.
Yeah.
Really.
It's actually extremely easy to break into both houses and padlocks.
Another one would be going to the Y. We have a membership to the Y with the pool and all that stuff down the road. And when you go in, they give you a lock for your locker. with the combination on a sticker on the back of it or something. It's like, what? No.
Okay. Interesting. Two little thing, or one big thing and one little thing. What do you know about this, Brantley? The bitcoins that they're auctioning off. It looks like there's 2,700 bitcoins, and that's worth less, well over $1 million.
The US is doing the same, so that's cool.
I'm just curious.
Australia already did it.
Oh, do you get to bid on that? How do you?
I don't know. I'm not bidding on it. No.
Well, if you could get them cheap, pennies on the dollar, I mean, wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah, but I'm definitely not in the realm of being able to bid on
2,700 bitcoins. Yeah, I gotcha. Okay, now what about this? What about this story though? This is interesting, and I want to see how they're pulling this off. But ransomware is hitting smart thermostats.
Yep.
So what do they do to hold you ransom exactly? They keep the
Turn up
temperature
the
high.
heat?
They turn up the heat.
Turn up the heat in the winter, or turn up the heat in the summer.
And
Turn
then
down
turn
the
on-
AC on the.
I gotcha.
It's so not good. I
We
got
will
the
make you
Echo free.
uncomfortable until you pay.
Yeah.
People do realize they could just turn things off, right? They can cut cords and stuff
Yeah,
like that. I
rip
mean,
that.
Yeah, and then they won't have any AC units.
oh, that's true.
And
They
for
have to come out to they have to come out to your house for that, though.
yeah, and for $200 for a new Nest thermostat to replace your ransomware one, kind of ridiculous, anyways.
Don't get a Nest anyway. There's so many problems with those and so many issues. And I was so delighted to see all of the. I mean, just Google it.
Well, I was just using because that's the main one out there. So
Yeah, I got the and just before we move, I got the Echo B3, and apparently malware people haven't heard of it yet. I don't know, maybe they have in your article. I'll look into it. But I purchased that one because it comes with a remote sensor, and you can buy extras for different rooms. So it will sort of average the temperature between the sensors in the different rooms. And it has like a follow me function. So it also has like motion detection on the sensors, and it knows when you're in the room and when you're not, and when to worry about the temperature there and when not to. And our house is so weird, but like one room's way too cold and one room's way too hot. And I will report that it has helped a lot in that aspect. So
that's good.
Glenn said posted something about Project Sauron. Malware hidden for 5 years. I'm not sure. Let's see. It's infected a string of organizations. It's in Russia, Iran, and Rwanda. Government targeted. Okay. That's interesting. Thank you for sharing. I had this interesting video. I wanted to. A few of us here, and many of you maybe possibly out there, have Keurigs. Some guy made a functional robotic hand out of his Keurig.
Put a description with that, please.
Sure. Functional robotic hand made out of Keurig. I think that's how you spell it. So
that's probably how you say it too. I always say Keurig. You say Keurig.
I call it the devil's machine.
I do too, actually, because mine is stupid. It doesn't follow the schedule that you set for it to come on and go off. It just does it at random times. Mine does anyway. And so I have to leave it always on, but every once in a while I have to reset it to always on. And then like Tank said, it's like when it's always on, it's never hot enough. So you really need to turn it off and back on again, you know. And then I had to set the time on it like the other day, like a reset from switching the power port outlet, and I reset the time on it, and then it like was 2 hours off, like a little bit later, and then I was like, okay, so I set the time again. I came back later and it was 2 hours off again, and so I set the time a third time, and it decided to stay, but I don't know about that.
I don't have a problem with the timers on mine. Those actually work well.
Well, yeah, even with the timer for on and off and stuff, like even the clock was fine, but I mean like random times, like if I set it to come on at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. or something when I was doing then, it would come on at 7 or come on at who knows, like in the afternoon, and I'd set it to go off at like 10 a.m. But it would like just come on and like 3 p.m. It wouldn't be like even 12 hours off or anything. It would be like really random. Like,
Interesting. I do want to point out some of Phoenix's links because I was actually going to talk about some of those. The Oracle's POS or payment systems got hacked and caused a big issue. So anybody using Oracle backends for their payment system should check into that and update. I don't know why they say warning, over 900 million Android phones vulnerable to new quad router attack, because
that story came out a couple of days ago.
I'm actually excited about that because that means now your older Android devices are able to be rooted, which a lot of them aren't because of stupid manufacturer and carrier crap. So
yeah.
I don't think that's a. I don't think
rooting can be used by malware and for malicious purposes, but yeah, I actually am in agreement with Brantley on this one. The one thing I hate about the phones that I've had recently is that they have been, locked, and
Samsung is the worst about it.
Samsung is the worst about it, and anything that can help with that, and particularly with older devices, to make them to allow them to continue to be useful, even with today's newer devices, I think is a great thing. Wonderful, it helps people.
Yeah, and the next one I did not know about. Apparently, a new feature in the anniversary update is they redid the remote assistance into quick assist, and he posted a link and it has a video on how to use that. And the article is claiming it to be a TeamViewer killer. So I guess interesting to see how that works. Maybe.
Where was the link on that? I'm sorry. Which one?
The one that says Microsoft highlights its Windows 10 anniversary update TeamViewer killer.
Okay.
Looks to be very similar to TeamViewer's quick support.
Interesting.
Indeed.
So that's definitely awesome. I really do like how Microsoft is aiming at products that have been here for a long time, doing what Microsoft probably should have already been doing. So not good for those companies, but good for everybody in general, I would say.
Oh, Blue Flame. This is a cool little video with something they discovered. Kind of cool to watch. It's short. It's 1 minute and 39 seconds. But look at this effect. It's kind of neat here.
What is the description for that?
Okay, sorry. Let me put that in there. Whoops, I can't copy and paste. Why not? Ooh.
And Nick, you may be interested in this because I know you were trying out the developer virtual machines. Microsoft updated them for August 2016. If you wanted to look into those again, I don't know if that's the IE developer updates or not, but
I think my HexChat window crashed. I think I crashed my HexChat window by pasting some URL.
You definitely pasted a whole bunch of stuff right there. Jeez.
Did not mean to do that.
What are you doing?
I don't know. I'm not doing anything as far as I could tell.
Where did you get all of those to copy and paste from?
I don't know. What the hell is this?
Michael, have you been hacked?
Yeah.
No, what the hell? I must have copied the entire web page that I'm viewing. Jesus. My apologies for that, guys. My apologies. Is it still doing anything?
Yeah, it's still pasting stuff in there.
Yeah. Power color, red devil.
Reset button.
Okay, I closed down HexChat. Did that stop it?
it probably will. But, geez, dude.
I don't know what happened there, man.
Good job, Michael.
Phoenix also mentioned that you can now use YubiKeys with Easy to Boot by pasting a static password into your config file. And it only supports 30-character passwords currently, but he's looking to support 64-character passwords. So that's actually pretty nice. Nick, have you been using the YubiKey stuff? You're muted.
Oh, that's why I kept saying boot Michael and no one did it. The YubiKey, I use it, and I use the authenticator on the desktop sometimes, and I plug it in sometimes, but I have to always forget to hit the button. And then I use it with my phone. I mean, but I don't use anything.
Do you use the static password stuff?
No. What?
Well, that's the static password where you push it and it enters in a 64 character code.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I use that all the time, so I really like that.
Yeah. I have to start. Well, I have to push the button sometimes. I don't know what it does.
Okay. So I thought this was pretty cool. Netflix is going HTTPS, and they explain why and how, and mainly because of DRM. So good there, but also good to have your stuff encrypted in general. So nice that they're moving there, especially since they control 90% of the bandwidth on the internet. So speaking of that, the EFF has petitioned the FTC to, or they have demanded that there be fair laws on DRM labeling, so you know what you're buying up front.
DRM labeling. Okay, explain that a little bit more clearly. Is this like a
for the fact, like,
they're saying you need to know if you're buying DRM content or not, basically.
Okay, so just a sticker that just says if it's in it or not. Okay.
And what it
why do you ask questions if you don't listen, Michael?
And what DRM you're buying.
So I would say it's because of things like, A, like Nick mentioned, to know if you're buying DRM protected content.
And what's compatible.
Yeah, B is how it's used and how it's limited. So how can you use it and where can you not use it?
Okay, that's important.
Yeah.
That's important.
I would also make it very clear that your digital content is relied upon by the place you bought it from and not under your own control. So that's another side of it too, that if you buy movies like on Google Play, for example, they could just remove it from Google Play in the future sometime, and you've lost that movie now. So
they're actually going to have verbiage to indicate that to the consumer?
That's what the EFF is requesting of.
Well, if they can pull that off, that would be impressive.
I feel like the FTC should have already been on that, so I doubt that they're just going to pull that off. But
there are too many lobbies associated with that, I'm sure, against that type of legislation to prevent that, we'll say. But I do hope that it does pass. Looks like Juniper's got a fix for their IPv6 problem on their routers. So if you have a Juniper router, check it.
So either apparently Hulu's subscription services with their now no commercial option is doing really well or doing really bad, because they're getting rid of their free service in the future. So they're just going to, I don't even know, and it's going to be weird. They're going to get rid of most of their free content, but not some of their content, like the people that own it, Comcast.
Okay, is this where they're giving it to you? You said YouTube, or who's doing it? Yahoo or somebody like that? Hulu. No, Hulu's doing it, but who are they spinning off the free services to? They're spinning it off to someone.
What?
They're spinning off the free videos.
Oh yeah, YouTube, Yahoo View.
Yahoo View. Yeah, okay, that's what I heard.
but if you want Hulu directly, you're gonna have to start paying for it. So, and like I said, I think that could either be that the subscriptions are doing good and they're just going to focus on subscriptions, or the subscriptions are doing bad and they need to focus on subscriptions. Either
Okay.
way, apparently they're going to start focusing on the people that are paying them, which is a good thing. So.
Here is a review of and I'm big on this, USB 3.1 Gen 2. So many times you see things advertised as USB 3.1, and they're really Gen 1 devices, so they're effectively USB 3.0 devices just under a new name. So this is one of the few devices that actually does support the Gen 2 standard. So I'm not going to make an opinion on one way or the other. You'll have to read the review to find out if that's a good solution or not. But it's good to see that those devices are coming out and reaching the market. So that's great.
So Glenn has a comment on what has been a bane of Michael's existence recently. Windows 7 updates. Never updating. It just stares at the ceiling as long as you wait. And there have been various fixes, but he's saying that it does appear 100% of the time downloading the latest roll-up update that's a service pack but not a service pack.
Yeah.
Windows 7 will fix the issue 100% of the time.
But it takes. Okay, here's the kicker, though. Let me just clarify, because I've gone through it a whole bunch recently, and there may be a way to cut this down a little bit, but I think you're pretty much stuck with it. You got to download that update, the roll-up update that I think was released in April or something like that, or May or June. I can't remember, but a few months ago, and that you have to just wait for. And I've had it wait for over 24 hours. So just suck it up, and it will finish eventually. And then once that happens, you're good to go after that. But I don't know a way to remove it, because even with the fix still causes you to wait the 24 hours. So I don't know a way to remove that problem.
Well, if you're doing a OEM clean install already, I would suggest slipstreaming that and all the updates.
Of course, we've recommended that.
Windows 7, so that would be by far your best option. And we do have a video on Windows 7 slipstreaming specifically, so if you check back in our shows, you'll find that if somebody wants to find that.
And by the way, I tried throwing more processor resources at it, and unfortunately, it just uses a single core, 100% of a single core. So having multiple cores throwing at it won't work. Of course, higher clock speeds might, but I was running a 4 gigahertz modern i7, so
yeah,
well, that's it.
And instead of waiting 24 hours and looking it up, as Michael said, definitely slipstreaming would be way better, because I know I could install a Slipstream Clean OS. I could even create a Slipstream CD and install it and update it and have all the drivers and everything before 24 hours would be over. So
Phoenix points out the WSUS offline update, and that works very well also, yes, and circumvents that problem.
It still does wait for WSUS update or offline. Because it's still, all of it's using the how many updates are needed and where do we need to apply them. And honestly, we really don't give enough credit to Microsoft for their update process, considering how complex and complicated and the number of updates that they released for it.
They broke it. It was working fine, and they broke it just when Windows 10 came out. Yeah.
If you look into that, you can manually write your own Windows update. It's doable. Microsoft even provides the tools with the there's something like chain. It's some execute something chain or chain something that you use, and it basically, like, you use it with all these parameters, and it sees what update exists and what you have on the system, all that stuff, and then you have to provide the logic for that thing. Well, that is a beast, man. I looked into it for some functionality a long time ago, and no.
Well, and that's what I'm saying. All of these tools are using that to do this anyway, so it's not like you're getting around it.
Well, I don't know if they are or not. See, I don't know about that, because I don't know about that. But when I looked into it, it just wasn't something that I wanted to do.
Well, I mean, but I was talking more of just consider what they're doing there. They're updating updates sometimes. So they have to know which updates do need to be applied, which updates need to be applied first because maybe they fix other things and then they updated another portion of that update afterwards and it has to be installed after that. Like there's so much going on with Windows updates that I am
Keychain.
really quite impressed with it. Um, I feel like they actually do a fairly decent job for what they do.
It's qchain.exe. Check that puppy out. Just look for the junk on that. That's crap, man. I don't want to mess with that.
I mean, like, I've always considered the apt-get to be a fairly good update system, but I've had more problems with apt-get than I've ever had with Windows updates.
No, I don't know. I've never had any problems with apt-get. Never
You
had any
just
problems.
started using it, and all you
No, I've used it for years. I've used apt-get back in the almost a decade ago. No, it's apt-get's been very reliable for me. I've never seen an issue in a modern implementation of that having any sort of failure, and it's incredibly fast. And
It's
it
not
also cleans up
apt-get
after
itself. It's not apt-get itself. It's the updates that it installs and how it installs them. That's what I'm saying is once you run apt-get, you might end up installing an update that messes up your entire system and you have to reload it. I've had several situations where that's happened. So
I just threw a couple links in there, but there's a billion of them for usage on that and various things. That's not the one that I found a long time ago, but it's pretty crazy using that.
You can install versions that have different. Like you can apt-get a version that will break existing configuration files and things like that. But most distributions these days actually check for that and have triggers and other things in place to prevent that from happening, or to do some sort of cleanup after that, or to just not serve the update.
Michael, once you start using Linux for a significant amount of tasks, then come back to me and tell me that you haven't had any issues ever. Because you will have more issues than you've ever had with Windows updates breaking.
I don't know about that.
And that's true, Phoenix. It's the repos that you're basing it off of that have to come from it. But even on stock OSs, I've had things come. So if you can't trust the stock OS repos, then there's an issue there. So later, Glenn. Have a good week.
See you, Glenn.
I thought this was really cool for all of us here in the Cheerwine state, but there's a Cheerwine sangria you can make. They got the recipe there on Skillet.
Sangria is disgusting, but Cheerwine sangria.
Yeah, Cheerwine sangria. And for those of you who do not know, Cheerwine is a delicious cherry soda that's made in North Carolina, just about 30 minutes from where Proctor is, actually. Salisbury.
Salisbury.
Yeah, that's where
the Salisbury steak.
Yeah, that's where the home of Cheerwine is. It's actually a nice little building. It's really quaint.
Quaint. That's one word.
It's a quaint little town overall in general.
That's one word for it.
And the town next to it with the railroad museum and all that. Did you ever go to that?
And I only ended up
been meaning to take the kids to the transportation museum.
Yeah, it looked. We never actually went inside. We were doing ingress stuff around there, and it looks really cool. They got a lot of trains and pretty big place for that. So
I ended up in Salisbury because I fell asleep driving on the highway, and you just kind of go straight into it if you don't take the right exit to stay on the highway.
Yeah, sometimes you can.
The historic district there is really, really beautiful.
Yeah, but I thought it was a nice place. But yeah, so that's cool. And definitely, if you have a chance to try Cheerwine, if you haven't tried it, I highly recommend you try it. So definitely worth the taste. I don't know. I didn't actually watch this, but there's a scary technology movie starring Pierce Bronson called IT,
Pierce Brosnan.
It looks like a crappy movie, so
I always had trouble with that name. Is it Pierce?
Pierce Brosnan.
Hmm.
it is Pierce Brosnan.
Yeah.
I don't know how to say the last name. I know Pierce is right.
Trailer for IT about
Um,
security technology.
And I thought this was pretty interesting. You can not only network boot, but also boot from a hard drive with a Raspberry Pi. So no more reliance on SD card issues and problems and things like that. And possibly, no, that network boot stuff that we put up wouldn't do it, but maybe the NetBoot OS would, I think, possibly. Anyway, I thought that was cool. It's nice to see those coming up to par with full desktops and stuff. Thought this was pretty cool. You can watch liquid nitrogen dancing over different fluids. Like it's really quite impressive. Pretty.
Man, we had a comment on our Foolish Tech show the other day on the 4th when we were talking about the network boot. And the guy put up a link to Serva. And if I recall, Brantley, you introduced me to that back in the day when we were setting up SysLinux and WDS back at the tech shop we worked at. Was it that long ago, or?
Well, I wasn't around for the WDS.
Did you know that after you guys?
Oh, you weren't up. Well, gosh, maybe it was Michael. No, it wasn't Michael. Maybe it was someone.
Well, we worked. I mean, I worked on putting that WDS stuff back in place. You
That
know,
looks like a Byron.
you know, but
Could have been. For me,
might
it
have
was.
I don't know.
For me, it was a thing about it would not work with the Windows server in WDS. Like, so we went with the SysLinux setup.
Yeah, that was a big thing.
Which is available, by the way, network boot guide that I rewrote or just fixed the links on. Boot guide. Let's do that again. But the tech info page on Foolish IT has been revamped and or reinstated, and I've been adding things to it. Just to throw that out there again if you haven't caught the show in a couple of days. But that's just like I added some more stuff to it yesterday, including the old "How I Quit Cigarettes" article, which I rewrote last weekend, backed by popular demand, I'm told. In any case, I threw that on the tech info page because, in my experience, techs tend to smoke. All my coworkers have smoked for so long.
Yeah.
So, along with batch files that you can learn from and other links of interest and such. Creating Windows installers, stuff.
It's good to give back.
Trying.
So it's not good to give back in certain cases, like this one, where AT&T and Verizon were giving businesses discounts on 911 fees, proving that there's absolutely nothing done with those 911 fees as they should be done, which I think John Oliver did a Last Week Tonight segment on that, where see on your bills for every phone you have, there's a 911 fee, which you would assume that $2 to $5 is going to your local 911 place. It's not. It's going wherever. The company that's charging you is taking a piece of that. The government is taking the rest of that and then just using it how they want. Apparently, they actually take the 911 budget and then cut it and use it for other things instead. Because who needs 911? I have noticed that it seems like there's a lot less emphasis on dialing 911 if you're in trouble. So maybe they're trying to phase it out even.
Why not? It's good for nothing. I had some more links if you're running low.
You can go ahead if you want. I got.
Oh, okay. Well, Spiceworks, got an email from them, and that's the web version of it. And they're having right now an event you can register for about data breaches, what to do to check for existing ones, what to do if you've been breached, and how to save, secure, whatever. I guess it's from ESET, ESET, the security peoples, antivirus peoples. And also in the email, they have upcoming events for insider threats, load testing 101, tips for network planning, and thin clients in that order. Those are the August. Oh gosh, those start today. Oh yeah, that's today too. It's 11 Central, so you need to register for that event, for the first event today, like in an hour and 10 minutes. It's on. So if y'all want to check that out. And
11 a.m. Central Time.
yeah, well, Central, but yeah, it's an hour and 10 minutes from now, no matter where you are. That was the Serva link. I don't know if I posted that earlier. And finally, and I think I'll be done, is August 8th, yesterday, was, I don't know, something crappy about the vaping laws and the FDA or someone, and they're
It's
mad
not
about that.
crappy. They're just. It's not. I don't think it's crappy. I think
Well,
it's.
see. Here's the crappy thing, though. When they start restricting and requiring all these fees, and then the vaping market goes down to 1% of what it is today, the grandfather clause is going to be on products from 2007 and back. Are going to not. They're going to be grandfathered out of these new regulations. I think that that thing on that page right there, it's about getting the grandfather, at least get it. That's like step one, is to getting the grandfather to apply now when they're actually proposing these new regulations. I don't think they go into effect for 2 years, but
I still don't see the issue. What I see is a bunch of people set up businesses on a quick get-rich scheme, and now they are being regulated like every other place that provides a controlled substance, and now they're bitching about it. That's what I'm seeing. Is that places that, like this place over here, they just set up a vape shop. They got a few products that they keep in store, but they mainly make all of their money off selling juice. And the biggest requirement in it is requiring that they verify age, which most of the shops I've been to have been requiring 18
right.
plus. So I didn't see that as a big issue, and I don't see again why they're fighting something like that so much. But that seems like the biggest push from this whole stuff is to limit vaping getting into the hands of kids, which every controlled substance, if you get into selling a controlled substance, if you set up a business and you're selling controlled substance and you're not paying any fees from the government, go ahead and set aside a savings account, because you're going to have to do it in the future. It's not.
Well, you probably should. I mean, but the one way to look at it is the startups are kind of, I can parallel them to us and pioneering new types of software and using new technologies and the internet to start selling that and making a business. And if somebody suddenly came down us for something regulated wise, yeah, granted, we're selling to minors, or you know what I'm saying. We don't have
our products,
but and that's a different story. And I don't think anyone's against age verification at all. I don't know that. But see, here's the thing: when those regulations come into play and the market shrinks up to nothing, what's going to happen?
Why are you thinking that the market's going to shrink up to?
Well, that's yet to be seen. But if it's as expensive as it's rumored to be to apply for manufacturing and selling of, at least the sale of vaping products, like each individual product in the U.S., it's going to really like close up almost everyone who is not RJR, is not Philip Morris, Big.
I doubt that.
And they're only pimping. They're only pimping crappy products. And getting back to your thing about age, Brantley, our Big Tobacco is all about pimping it to children and the next generation, and that's what you should be concerned with, and how much money they're spending on this with the regulations. So
I definitely agree with staying away from the Big Tobacco brand products, but there are companies out there that are just fine with it. And I think more of it's not going to, like, the business has to apply to sell possibly, but they're not going to be the ones that have to apply to regulate the mod or the tanks or any of that stuff. Those are
Right.
done by the manufacturer of those, which
And in a lot of the cases, those manufacturers are like us, making stuff in their garage. Though I mean, they're not all Chinese companies that can sport the bill.
well,
You know,
but there are main ones out there, like
None of these E6
and
stores,
other places like that.
none of the stores are doing the innovation you're talking about, though. All the shops, like in town here,
they're mostly making juice.
well,
Yeah.
they're not even making the juice. They're just buying whatever cheap they can and reselling. They're no different than a gas station, basically providing just a more focused set of things on the shelf,
The
basically.
only thing I see from it is that prices are probably going to increase.
Oh,
Yeah, with any kind of regulations, the prices are definitely going to increase. But I do know of a lot of smokers who haven't switched to vaping because they're afraid the juice isn't safe.
Yeah, that is a big concern, and the regulation will hopefully alleviate those concerns for a lot of people,
You
and
can
that
make
may
your
actually
own.
increase the sales for
Yeah.
those
You can
businesses.
make your own, then you know what's in it.
But that's
Now people are lazy.
the other side of it too, is that that's one of the reasons why I stopped vaping back when you first got me a start, when you had that weird pen thing. I forget what it was called, but
The what?
the pen that you put like the filter things into the top cap.
The ego.
That was the first one I had. I gave that
Yeah.
to Tank actually.
Yeah, that one was when I was on the terrible juice, so I ended up stopping then. And then we found out that the place that you were getting juice from was in a flea market in Florida.
Yeah, I know. They had, but Smurf Kiss was really good.
It was.
And it almost glowed in the dark. But you're right. I do kind of worry about what was in that. That's why.
Yeah, well, when I had a cold for 2 weeks from smoking off of juice, I
I
decided
don't
it's
know.
not the best way to go, and that's when we went and found premium bottles that are labeled, and they cost more because
A
they're
lot.
regulated more, and they do more things to ensure quality and control. So I feel like
Self-regulated right now.
yeah,
I don't have a problem with regulating the thing. What I have a problem with is including it under the Tobacco and Control Act or whatever it is, and all of the mess in that's involved.
kinda, but I mean it's just like legalized marijuana. They have to apply something, and they're not going to start from scratch, so they treat marijuana just like alcohol.
Yeah.
So it's not. I don't think it's that big of a issue. I think that again, it's the small places that haven't invested wisely are going to be the ones that are going to get hit hardest by this. And honestly, when I drive past the vape shop and I see the owner's super nice fancy sports car sitting outside and know that all he sells is juice, I'm thinking, maybe
We're in the wrong business.
A little bit regulated. That's what I'm saying, man. These people got into a wild west get rich quick scheme, and now they're bitching that it ain't the wild west anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, I'm just complaining because I don't want big tobacco controlling my vape products.
And I don't see
For
that
obvious reasons, because they don't want us vaping, even if they're selling them. That's why they're selling crap.
They actually don't care what Americans do at all. We're not a large enough consumer of cigarettes for us to matter. They just care about the rest of the world. They're making all their profits off of traditional tobacco in the rest of the world, and the U.S.
I don't know. Why are they
quit
pumping
smoking
so much
overnight.
money on it?
They can quit smoking overnight if they want.
because they are making so much money in the rest of the world that they can just pump money into it.
Exactly.
But I'm talking about they're
they
pumping that money into us here. Into their fight on the home front.
Yeah,
because that's the only way they can. They can't influence governments overseas.
No, they can't.
Well, they can.
They manufacture everything here is why.
Yeah, what I'm saying though, Michael,
at least not as easily as they do over here. Inconveniently.
What were you saying, Nick?
I was just telling Michael that he can't say that they don't care about here, and then that's exactly why they're pumping money into here. That makes no sense. But
they do care about here because this is where they've been manufacturing, and the state y'all are in is
And they still
one of the
pay
prime
taxes here
tobacco
too.
places in the
They
world.
still pay taxes here, and I think that's a big concern for them. But I don't think they care about our consumption of it as much as they care about them just having their tax burdens released and having, I don't know, being left alone. I don't know.
Being left alone to self-poisons to future generations of children. Okay.
Yep.
That's good.
So, moving on from that, Google did a study that they showed that unwanted software is worse than malware.
Well, they're
Well, since 99% of malware is ransomware now, I would beg to differ.
Well, they're just saying that there's more reports of the way that they're tracking things. The instances of those things occurring, I believe the report says, right, Brantley, tell me if I'm wrong, but they're just saying that those are unwanted software, the ones that are classified in that category are higher than
I'm telling you you're wrong, because unwanted software,
unwanted software, they're saying, falls in 5 categories, just to mention: ad injectors, browsing setting hijackers, system utilities, antivirus, and major brands. I don't know what that category means.
okay, well, the last 3 sound like BS. We have a page up on that. Maybe we need to update our categories, but it's a lot of crap what they just lump in as unwanted software.
Yeah, but I think it's more of the PUPs, the potentially unwanted program stuff, like
that, like most of our stuff, even though people download it intentionally.
No, the stuff that gets bundled with things that you download and install, not
right. I know, but we've never bundled with anything, and we don't bundle anything yet. We still end up in those categories, and that's what I'm saying is probably part of the reason for a lot of these high detections. Look at near soft utilities.
Yeah. Well, the major brands I would feel like would be like things like Adobe's PDF installer or Java, because all of those offer pay per install options, and that's what's really doing it, is they're providing pay per installs, so people are just going out trying to get it on as many computers as they can. Actually, one of the DEF CON talks that I posted in a show way back previously, guy went to work for a malware company, and that's one of the things they did, is tried to bundle as much software into their malware as possible, so that they would not only make money off the malicious activity the malware was doing, but they would also make money off of the paper installs that they got. Also, they mentioned, though, that it is a seedy business, and that it's more likely that you will not get paid by those pay-per-install places. So you better source that out if you're going to go down that route for some reason. So.
And that last link was Nir's blog about how antivirus companies cause big headache to small developers, which they just don't care about us, because they're not paid to. They don't. It's not a problem for them.
Yeah.
But
crappy,
you said.
Well, I mean, and it would be hard though and it would be easy for utilities to get lumped into those categories. So it's hard to go through and classify all of that software. I thought this was pretty cool. The Internet Archive is expanding its game repo of retro gaming. You now have 10,000 Amiga games and applications.
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Sorry.
Bubble Bobble and R-Type.
Sorry. Wow. On the retro gaming front, I just wanted to mention that Sam had put out and released a clone of Metroid because of the anniversary of it, and they were promptly served with the DMCA from Nintendo because Nintendo hadn't. I think they were going to do something anniversary related themselves, and they beat them to the punch. These people beat them to the punch. So it was supposedly really interesting, and it's sad for anybody who's watching and following that, but. retro gaming is making a huge comeback, and I think you can see it in the products that are being offered, in the Pi focus, and the peripherals, and everything else. I think this is kind of a big thing, bigger than it had been in the past, and I can see a lot of people wanting to get a slice out of this, the retro gaming Pi. So keep tabs on it.
Oh, I know Glenn's already left, but apparently Australia is going to track online money laundering and cyber fraud. So that we know where the 178 million that's doing is going. It'll be interesting to see how they pull that off and if that works well for them or not. Well, actually, we are at our hour time limit, so does anybody have any last minute things they wanted to say or mention quickly? Nope. Good. All right.
Oh,
So,
wait.
go ahead.
I already talked about that. Never mind.
So, that is our show for today. Thanks everyone for joining us, and we will be back tomorrow at 2 p.m. Again, we are here primarily to provide service and support for any of our products and services, so feel free to contact us by any means you'd like, off air, or wait till tomorrow at 2 p.m. We'll be more than happy to talk directly with you. And thanks everybody for watching. Take us on out, Proctor, and bye, Internet. Bye. Bye.